What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Too Pop to Handle. I'm your host, Andrew Nucatola, your pop culture best friend. And as always, I hope you guys are having a fabulous week. I am so stoked. This is first of a kind, first time I'm doing this new little segment. It is just kind of deep diving into albums and the body of work, more of like the behind the scenes of it. And I'm so excited to have my friend Gati here with me today. She is I know her from actually Jonas Stan Twitter, which is funny. But she's a huge Beyhive member. So we kind of like met because of the Jonas Brothers, but honestly, we really don't talk about them. We talk about Beyonce, right? Like we literally never, I feel like, talk about the boys. It's always about Beyonce. But hi, Gati. Thanks for being here today.
Hi, I am so excited. I'm so honored to be the first
Of
guest
course.
for this.
Yeah, my first guest, the first new segment. It's exciting things over here. We're doing big things. So I'm very excited. So if you can't tell, and just by what I said, by the title, we are breaking down Beyonce's eighth studio out. Eighth? Yeah, eighth. I was like, wait, did I count that right? Eighth studio album, Cowboy Carter, and I am so stoked. So, like I said earlier, the reason that I wanted Gati to be on here is because she is such a huge member of the Beyhive. So, tell me a little about like how you like. I mean, we all got into Beyonce because she's Beyonce, but like why you kind of clung to her and like what it is about her. Because I feel like we can relate just on like her. So let's hear it.
I have Beyonce's been like the one music constant, I feel like, my entire life. For as long as I can remember, I remember her existing in music.
Yep.
When I was a kid, I have two older sisters, and we all loved Destiny's Child. Like, that was just one of the first girl groups I became familiar with. Like, of course, Destiny's Child, TLC, but I really loved Destiny's Child, and I just remember singing along to like.
How could you not? I mean, it was like
it was just the music of like the 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, it's like it was like quintessential of our childhood.
It was. So like I just always like I don't remember a time that I didn't know her, and then Beyonce came out with like solo music, and I just remember just connecting with that. I remember checking oh my goodness, what is the song?
Check on it.
Check on it, yes.
Yeah.
So I remember when Check on It came out, like I was obsessed with that song. I was obsessed with that music video. Like I wanted to wear pink outfits like her. Like she's just always influenced since then.
No, 100%.
New era, and so just I followed her career since then. I think like what really cemented it for me, and what's still one of my favorite albums, was the Beyonce self-titled album, and that's where I was like, you're different than everyone else. Like you're just not an artist.
I literally just got goosebumps. I'm not kidding, because I have I knew that was your favorite of hers, and just my favorite album of hers too. And I felt, and I always say like she obviously, same with me. Like my aunt loved Destiny's Child, and she lived in our house when I was growing up, so we would always listen to them together. So it kind of just like evolved from there. And I remember when like all her, I would listen to her albums, B-Day, I Am Such a Few, like all of them coming out, and I loved them, whatever. And then when 4 came out, I was like, she's doing something. Like it's like for some, like it's so funny to say stan, because like back then that wasn't really a thing. Like we wouldn't call ourselves a stan when like 4 came out. But I remember 4 coming out and being like, she really is, like, I always loved her music, but 4 was like, whoa. And then self-titled dropped, and I was like, it's over. I was like, she is, I always say like she's Beyonce here, her roar. Yeah. And like, I mean, I loved all the earlier projects, and like I was a fan and listened and kept up with it, and like always I remember like going to the store and buying her CDs, buying what was it, Live at Roseland, like that DVD. Like I went to go buy that at the store, so like I was a fan, but like I didn't really comprehend like how her mind just really worked until 4. And then when self-titled came out, I was like, oh shit, like this bitch is not playing around. She is here for the long run. And sure enough, 11 years later, since then, we are still in this run. I love it. Yeah. So so a few episodes ago on the podcast, on the regular main show, I was saying how it's so interesting, and you being a fan for so long as well, we've lived through so many album rollouts with her. So like with 4, she did the whole rollout where she would do like the behind the scenes and things like that. I mean, it literally leaked like a month before. I don't know if you remember that. Bad. But then self-titled, she really did just come out of nowhere and just like literally dropped it with no promo, and it started this new kind of like movement of people doing surprise releases. Before that, no one really did. And I, like, as someone who works in marketing and always was like been so interested, like that to me was such like, I was like, the idea of doing no marketing as your marketing, I was like, she's a genius, like major.
Crazy.
And then yeah, Lemonade, she did the same thing. With the Carter album, she did the same thing, surprise drop. And then obviously with like Black is King and The Gift and everything, like those are more rollouts, but those are like they're Beyonce albums, but it's like different, you know what I mean? So like with those, like there was
Disney was also like, you're gonna promote this.
You had to push it, right? Like, girl, you're in the movie, you're doing this, you're pushing it.
Yeah.
But other than those, like we really hadn't gotten rollouts until Renaissance, which I thought it was so crazy. I remember when Break My Soul came out, when the single dropped, and I was funny enough at a Jonas Brothers show, and you had tweeted about it, and I got home and I listened. I was like, this is crazy to be getting a lead single.
When was the like? That's crazy. I was
right, and like. Yeah, no, like I say to all the time, I'm like when people are like, wait, why? Like when I remember when Renaissance was coming out, and I was like, this is the first time in years we're getting an album rollout, and we know that there's an album coming.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's just cool to see like we went years not knowing, and now this rollout for Cowboy Carter, we have to get into it. So like major.
I know. And I feel like it's very intentional because this is different. You know what I mean? Like this is not just an album. Even each individual albums are not just an album. Like it's a part of this 3-act story.
Right. Which is also just so like
mind-blowing.
Genius.
And I think that's what
mind-blowing
doing by saying like, here's this single. This is different than what I've been doing for like the last like almost decade. So like I think it was
like it's intentionally different.
Us, like warning us, like, hey guys, get ready. You know, so which
like
when I loved it.
100%. Like when I saw Verizon posting those like teasers the week of the Super Bowl, and it was like clearly nods to Beyonce, I was like, hold on. I was like, girl, what are we doing? Like pump the brakes because something's happening. And I did not think it was going to be an album, honestly. I was like, I think we're just going to get like maybe the visuals finally for Renaissance because still haven't gotten those, but I'll let her slide. It's fine. We're never getting that. No, I think before we go into that, I think we're going to get them when the third album comes out. I think she's going to release all of them together. I think that's like makes the most sense. But I know. Oh, I can't wait. That's going to be, we'll do another episode doing that. A live reaction. Yeah. But okay.
Like I felt like with the Verizon ads, and I think that's why the Beyhive was going crazy because we're like, what is this? Like, what is actually going on? I would like to believe it's new music. I would like to believe she's teasing something, but like Beyonce doesn't announce her moves at all. So like everyone was just like, what's happening? What's going on? And so I remember when the commercial dropped on Super Bowl day, and I was actually at a Super Bowl party, so it was really hard to hear, and it was really frustrating. And then someone said at the end of the commercial that she said, drop the new music. And I was like, what? Like, I just went in a panic.
I literally, full like Mr. Krabs meme, that like panic. Thomas and I were like on the couch watching because we knew we wanted to see the Wicked commercial or the Wicked trailer, whatever. And then obviously Beyonce, I was like, two gay men are not watching football for fun. Like there's a purpose. And the commercial came on, and it was funny because his favorite is Ariana. Anyone listening just know Thomas is my boyfriend. His number one is Ariana. My number one is Beyonce. So it was like a big night in this apartment, and it came on and we were watching it, and she said drop the music, and I literally was like and I booked it. I mean, I live in a little apartment, but imagine me running the 6 feet to my bedroom and grabbed my laptop. He grabbed my phone. We were like refreshing. I was like, you check Spotify, I checked this, like panic. Because it's like she doesn't do that, you know, like that's just not.
And I thought it was a joke because it wasn't on Apple for a long time.
It wasn't anywhere for a while, and then out of nowhere her website just updates, and it was the teaser for Texas or for the album. And then I saw Act 2 329, and I was like, girl, I was like, are you kidding?
I can't even explain how I felt that day, and it was just like people
literally.
I was actually in a house full of people that are like 49ers fans, and they were very into the game, and I'm like, I can't do this anymore. Like
I gotta tap out, right? 100%.
We need to focus, you know? And
like there's
Exactly. And so like after the game was done, that's when I was like, okay, now we need to like play the music out loud.
Like listen,
this is
I know.
now.
It was so crazy. So we get that, and then we kind of get. She went kind of silent for a little bit. Like she didn't really post much, but because she had Sacred coming out, so she was doing all her hair stuff. Cool, love it. But I'm like, girl, do you remember you're dropping an album in a month?
Right.
Like, I was like, time is ticking.
It was back to Beyonce. This was back to the Beyonce we know.
Oh, I was like, all right, cool. We're back to surprise drops. Like, we were a little too excited. But then we get the album title, vinyl pre-order, CD pre-order. So exciting. Then we get the track list the week before the album. So when I saw the track list, I know she was sitting there because we know she's on Twitter being whichever fake account she's on, like scrolling through, reading everyone. Everyone was so confused. And I was confused too. I was like, is this a track list? Is it just like telling us things about it? And then when the album came out, I was like, oh, she literally just, it's in order. I don't know if you noticed, like the poster was literally in order. I was like, oh, we're all just dumb.
I know she was laughing at us because I know she saw us being like, what's happening? What is
this?
Yeah. And she's just like, this is the track list, guys. Like,
she's like, I'm literally giving you the track list on a silver platter. What are you not computing?
What's not I know.
Like, what's not getting?
But we're so used to like not getting it easy like that, Like
right. We usually have to like decode it. I know.
Everything's a mystery, so we're not going to assume
it's that easy. Yeah, but I guess now we know.
Now we know.
And she did give us the Renaissance track list the day before too. Remember, it was like that 3D kind of visualizer thing where they were like spinning. That was like the day before, I think.
Yeah.
But so we get the track list. Obviously the day before, so exciting. And then things even took a turn because like she did the signing in Japan, which like
I don't think people even understand like what that she doesn't do this.
I legitimately
No, she doesn't do public appearances. She doesn't do like announcements of Beyonce's going to be here, so you can also come. I literally can't remember the last time. I genuinely can't. And I just don't know. I hope they know how lucky they are because I would have flown to Japan if I knew.
No. If this was I would have figured it out.
Yeah.
Like I was at a drag show that night. I literally walked out of the drag show, checked my phone, and it popped up, and I was like, oh, this is a joke. Yeah. And then it was happening in an hour. It was literally like, because it was Friday for them already.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, people are there. Like it was literally, I was like, oh my God, like Beyonce literally insane.
Like that sentence doesn't make sense to me because
doesn't compute. Does not compute. It's
meet and greet. That doesn't happen. I hope it happens again. I hope it falls, comes to us.
I know. Come on. I thought she was going to do something at the Guggenheim, which is literally 10 minutes from me, like down the street. So that night when she posted that, I was like, Thomas, I'm going. He was like, don't go. He was like, no. And I'm glad I didn't. But that being said, so we get the signing, which is crazy. She does the W magazine cover, which again, like, just like crazy. Then she accepts the iHeartRadio award that Monday. Like she is just definitely
She's outside.
There's like it's like a shift. She is, and I kind of just think back to like in the Renaissance film, the tour film, when she said she's like, I'm done pleasing people, like I'm doing what I want. Like she really is just kind of like taking the reins again and like, this is me, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
And she's gonna do whatever she wants. And I'm like, this is just so wild. Like, especially because everybody, I mean, she's never been a small artist. Like realistically, like everyone's always known her, but like she has done so many releases and albums and things like that. And like for now, all these years into her career, what are we, 27 years, I think, into her career, for her to start doing press and promo again, I'm like, what? I can't keep up. Like
you said, everything she does, it's because she wants to do it. Like it's not.
Yeah.
It's not like there's a label saying like you have to go do this, like her.
No, she
for herself, like she doesn't need to promote it. So her promoting it is so intentional, and like she wants to be the one, I think, leading the story. She wants to be the face of
100%
the narrative that I'm giving to you, and it's gonna
come
in my mouth. And I think it makes the rollout and it makes the album itself more impactful because it's like it's clear that she's so proud of it and she's like, this is the story I need to share with the world. And
it makes it more impactful and also just more like more personal because she does it because she wants to, you know what I mean? Like she doesn't need to promote it.
Yeah,
she's Beyonce,
right?
But the fact that she's doing, like, it shows how proud she is of these. Not that she's not proud of like Lemonade and self-titled, but like she really puts so much into these albums, and it show. I mean, that we'll get into obviously track by track, but like the artistry, just like it's insane the way that she not just like thing on the album, but every move she makes
Mm-hmm.
is, and I say this, but it kind of comes off wrong, but it's calculated,
Yeah.
but not in like a negative way. Like it's
Yeah.
calculated in a way where like she's a genius.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
And
it's insane.
it's really smart, everything that she's doing. And I think, like you said, it's calculated in just a really great way to show just the intentionality and the creativity behind it, to show like, yeah, like,
Mm-hmm.
she's a genius. And I'm just so
Yeah.
glad we get to be along for the ride and watch it all.
I say it. I feel like I say it all the time. I'm like, I'm so glad I'm alive during the Beyonce era, because like
It will
kids,
be
like
out.
if like kids in however many years, like I don't know, 50, 100, more than that, like they're gonna look back and be like, I wish I was alive at that time. You know what I mean? Like and like, even not to like, obviously everyone always compares her to Taylor, but like it's the same thing. Like we're living through such a era of music, and just like it's so cool to see what's you know what I mean? Because the music that our parents listened to, like obviously they didn't have social media, so like they didn't have these like phenomenons. They did, but it wasn't to the point where like everything's recorded. You know what I mean? Like people are going to be able to look back at this era and just Beyonce's career as a whole and have every single thing recorded in some sense because of this new digital age. And I think that's something so cool. And she does such a fun way of like using digital and social to her advantage. I feel like, you know, like she's just very smart. Like the website drops and like
do that, and to like you said, to use this new digital age when she debuted 27 years ago, like
when she like
she started,
oh my god, I saw this
at tapes age, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
And to be able to transition into this age and like be able to figure out streaming, be able to figure out physical like selling, like all these things, that's just completely new.
It's incredible. Yeah. Like she literally debuted with cassettes, and now it's crazy. I cannot. It's so impressive
on Spotify or something like that. It's just to be able to transition like that is just, it's just a credit to who she is, because not everyone.
Yeah, and her artistry and her talent, like she really is just, she's smart, and I feel like she's always thinking 10 steps ahead, and it terrifies me. I'm like, girl.
It actually is when we talk.
Yeah, I'm like, what? Very that. But all right, so yeah, so obviously the elephant or the horse, I guess, in the room is the album. So we are going to go track by track. Yeah. We have listened to it. We've had it for like a week and some change now. It's been 9 days since it came out. Mm-hmm. And we have put our thoughts together. We have notes, and we are going to dive into this masterpiece of an album. So starting off the album strong, as she always does, American Requiem.
Yeah.
When I pressed play on this track, I was like, oh, this is how you open a fucking album.
Best intro. I really think it's her best intro song for an album.
If it's not the best, it's like top 3, top 2. No, it is her best. Actually, I'm not even going to sit here and like try and sugarcoat. Like I think it's her best album opener.
It's such a statement. Like just exactly, she's like, this is what this album's about from the beginning. These are the vocals you're going to get. This is the story you're going to like. I don't remember.
There's a lot of chatter in here, a lot of talking going on. Like she is literally like, oh, you guys want to talk? I'm going to do it right back.
And I feel like I remember getting chills. Like I do remember listening to that first time, and it felt so out of body. Where the chorus, the vocals, like I grew up
all of it.
Yeah, with like choirs and like choirs and things like that. And I'm like, there's so much of that in country, that music too, that's like I feel like missing sometimes. For her to like bring it together in this song, and like you said, those lyrics of like there's a lot of chatter. To me, like the words of her saying like, can you stand me? Can you stand with me? Like, I want you to bring me along. I want to bring you along this album. I'm not just talking to you. Come with me.
Nope. She's like, let's go on. I just got chills again. Oh my God. I can't. It's just so good. The one line when she says, used to say I'm too country. Rejection came, said I wasn't country enough. Said I wouldn't saddle up. If that ain't country, then tell me what is.
Yeah.
Like the album. When you think of the layers.
Yeah.
Because you think like Destiny, when she was doing Destiny's Child press, and even like so early Beyonce, like she did have that kind of country twang to her voice sometimes, and people would make comments. They're like, why does she have that country accent? And like, I mean, she talks about it openly, and like you can tell like she almost trained her voice to not have that like southern twang to it. So like she's saying like, I was too country, then I got rejected from that. Stepped away from it, went back into country, and you guys had all this shit to talk about the Dixie Chick performance. She's like, what is enough?
Yeah, nothing.
Like when I do it,
it's not
no
worth
one's, they're like never pleased. Yeah.
exactly. And like it's really sad because like it's not like she woke up last week and was like, "Oh yeah, let me claim my Texas roots." That girl has been
No.
repping Houston since the day she debuted.
Down.
Like that is not new.
Down.
Like she has been a Southern girl
Mm-mm.
and she's made it a part of her story because that's who she is. So this thing
Yeah.
of her saying like I feel bad that she has to like prove herself. Like, hey guys, I
I
love
know.
country. I literally by
Yeah.
your definition of country, I am that. So when is it enough?
Yeah.
What's that?
Right. And she like in the message she put out before the album came out, she was like, I started this album because I felt so, I forget the exact wording, but she was like, I had to do this album because it was came from a moment where like I wasn't accepted in a place where I should be.
Yeah.
And there's so many layers to that.
Yeah.
And when you think like the country thing, she's also a Black woman, which is obviously, firsthand, unfortunately, like, and she said it before. She's like, the Black woman is the most like suppressed person in America, in the world, really, unfortunately. And it breaks my heart. Like I hate even talking about it because I could get so enraged, and I can't even imagine how you feel. And she does such a good job at just like speaking for people who need their voices to be heard. Absolutely. And it makes me so emotional.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You said it like on the nose, and it feels seen. Like, and that's the thing, the way she describes it, like when she talked about, and I'm so glad she talked about the Country Music Award experience, because I know that feeling. Like I went to school in the middle of like Indiana. Like I've been in these spaces where you're very much felt like other, and they make sure you're known that you're other. And so like for her to speak on it and be like one of the biggest pop stars in the world, and for her to still have that experience even though she's Beyonce, it like speaks to the fact that clearly this still happens like on all levels, no matter
I know
accolades you have behind you. And so yeah, it really did touch me in that area, and I'm really glad she talked about it because people really do believe that it doesn't happen anymore and it's not real.
Yeah, people think it's like, oh, that's not something that happens anymore, but like it happens every day. And even in places, like you said, like to people that you wouldn't think, like she's Beyonce, like you think everyone's going to be accepting. So like if really like one of the most powerful Black women in the industry, the most really, has these like gets this backlash, like imagine the little girl in the middle of Indiana who's going to school, like you just said. Like it really is. And I think that's also another reason why the Hive is so deep for her, because when you think about her fan base, like it really is a lot of not suppressed, but like groups of people who like need a voice to speak for themselves. She has such a big LGBT following because she's always been an ally, but it's obviously it's different because it's, she's, it is what, it's like a different thing, but it's like different like sentence, different font kind of thing. Same sentence, different font. I mean, like, but like these groups of people who like need their voices to be expressed. And like she did so many queer Black artists on Renaissance, like giving them that platform, and now doing it, we'll get into Blackbird in a second because that's next, which I just incredible. But like the way that she makes people feel heard and seen, and like you can do it, you can do whatever, like, you know what I mean? It's so incredible. And I feel like that's something that she's always kind of carried through all of her albums, but now more than ever, she's like, I'm done. Like, she's like, I'm 27 years into my career and I'm still dealing with this shit. Sit the fuck down, listen to this 27 track album, and let's get into it.
Yeah, exactly. Like you said it perfectly. And that's why I love this opener song, because I feel in American Requiem, like she's just like, come, like, this is what I'm trying to do. I'm telling you what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Come join this movement. This is the time to let love in, is what she says. And it's like, this is the time that you can do it. Like, yes, this, these stories have been done, this damage has been done, but now is the time that we can like stand together and like move forward. And here's how we can do it. And here's this whole album.
Exactly.
That story. And it's just, gives me chills.
It's incredible. So I talked about this on my episode this past week, this first 5-track run, because to me, I just think it is so, again, just kind of nods to her artistry. So I'm not going to get into it too much, but I just think the way that she goes into that intro, and she's like, hey, here I am, then into Blackbird, 16 Carriages, Protector, and My Rose. Yeah. She's like, this is who I am. Here's my story. here's the stories that need to be spoken about
Yeah.
and her career, whatever, and then to tie in her children to it, it's just,
Yeah.
oh, it's amazing. But
Wow.
let's not get too ahead. We'll go into Blackbird next because the messaging on this is just so beautiful. Obviously, Blackbird is originally by the Beatles, Paul McCartney, and it was his. A lot of people didn't know that that song is. I only found out a few years ago. I saw it on. It came up on like a documentary thing I was watching. Somebody had mentioned it. But yeah, that Blackbird was written from Paul McCartney to Black women during the 60s to like be the message of, obviously we all know the message of the song, but like for her to take it,
Yeah.
make it her own, and just get like Paul McCartney's approval to do it, like insane. Like,
yeah, I know.
Like that magnitude is crazy.
Yeah.
And then her tying in these smaller female country artists of color,
Yeah.
it just amplifies the message to a point where like her covering that song and to me was already like, oh my God, that's major.
Yeah.
But then adding those layers to it,
Yeah.
it's incredible. It is so incredible.
Yeah. I feel like this song gets me the most emotional actually from the album. Because of everything that you said. It's like it's not just about her and making a way. It's about I need to make a way for these other people that are coming up and like spotlighting these lesser known Black female country artists. And you know, and then there's so many articles out too about how just before Blackbird, before we even knew this song was coming out,
oh my God,
doing country music, people started looking up Black women in country music, and like just their searches went up, their Spotify listeners went up simply because Beyonce announced a country song. We didn't even know she was.
And then she put them on the album.
Yeah, and it was just like,
and that's
how you should.
One of their Spotify.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, don't be sorry. No, sorry. One of their Spotify listeners went up 400%. Their monthly listeners.
That's insane.
In a weekend.
Yeah, that's crazy. And
it's crazy.
Like that's how you make a way for other people. It's like you're going through the door and you're busting open for the people behind you. And so I feel like in that song too, like I said, I get emotional when I listen to it.
Yeah, no, as you should.
Just to those girls, I feel like she's also saying to other, I feel like she's singing to me too, honestly, personally. I take it to myself. I'm like, when
100%.
When she says, you're only waiting for your moment to arise, it's just like, you just need, sometimes you're like, I'm working so hard and I'm doing the things that I need to do and I'm pursuing my dreams or whatever. And you just need someone to just like give you that platform.
Remind you like, hey, you're going to get there.
Exactly. And just kind of push you through a little bit. And you just kind of need to wait for that moment. And sometimes you need to wait, but it will come. And so for her to like have it for herself and then talk about it for these other country artists, I just feel like it's just so beyond just the song itself. Like that message just like hits my heart. And
100%. As when I saw that she was covering it, because it like got, I think it was like a leaked like bit kind of thing that people like found out about. I was like, oh my God, that's going to be beautiful because of obviously her vocals on it are going to be insane because it's just a beautiful song to begin with, and obviously she's so talented. And then when it came out and I listened to it, I was like, that is just so major. I'm obsessed. And so then we go from Blackbird, again, like you wrote it in your notes here, but yeah, very intentional. I feel like going from Blackbird to 16 Carriages, because that song kind of it's her kind of almost looking at her career and like reflecting on it. And she's like, hey, I've got art to make. I have no time to waste. She's like, but she admits, she's like, I miss my kids. Like, I want to be home. I want to be present. But she's like, I have things to do. And like you said, like, it does feel so intentional because of that message. She's like, I have to be the person making this art for people so everybody else can continue to, not for lack of better words, spread their wings. You know what I mean? Like all these Blackbirds need to spread their wings and like see, you're going to miss your family, you're going to work hard, but like it's going to pay off.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I get from going from Blackbird to 16 Carriages. Just like you said, she's telling her story, but I also feel like it's a message back to them, just being like, hey, yes,
she's like, hey, don't forget.
Yeah, you got your moment, but there are things that are still going to come. You know what I mean? Even when
exactly
open for you, like you're, and I think I love the her talking about her legacy in it, because it's just how that this is where
she talks about her whole career. Really, she flashes back to the beginning.
Yeah, and you can tell that's where she is now. Like she's not just about making music; it's about creating this legacy, and this legacy it includes, yes, her music and her family, but it includes, I think, like I said, going back to Blackbird, it's about creating this legacy for other people. And yeah, I just
100%.
loved, like you said, that run from the beginning, from 1 through 5, Blackbird to 16 Carriages
It's
to Protector to My Rose. It's like,
It is so and I don't think a lot of people realize,
yeah,
like, I think that's why, like, when I was listening, I was like, "Okay, I've gotta do this album, like, break it down," because I don't think people and understandably, like, not everybody is as invested almost, into things like that. Like, people a lot of people just listen to music, and I'm like, "Imagine being normal,
yeah,
like, and not
I
dissecting
can't
an
relate.
album second by second."
Can't relate.
Right. Yeah, couldn't not be me.
No.
But yeah, so then we go into Protector, which like you said, Rumi said, "I'm getting a Grammy."
Yeah,
She is
she
not the
said,
only girl.
"Blue, your time's done."
She said, "Blue, you did your work. I'm coming in." So Protector with Rumi, which is so cute. I love that she is continuing her art and including her children in it. It is just a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And just a beautiful song. Like she's, "I'm born to be your protector. I know you'll shine on your own. And then that once you shine on your own, I'll be your projector." She's like, I literally get like
I
emotional.
got
She's like,
chills you saying that.
yeah.
Yeah,
She's like, "No matter what, like, I'm going to protect you, and when you do shine on your own, because you're a child of Beyonce, you're going to be a star." Like,
yeah,
and it's to all of her kids, really, like, "I'm gonna be your projector and just
yeah,
amplify you," kind of like Miss Tina does with her.
yeah,
Like, obviously, not that Miss Tina was an artist before, but like, she continues to. I mean, she's the biggest Beyonce fan there is.
yeah, and I love
I'm
that.
like, sometimes,
Yeah, that's what they, say about, like, just the idea of her being a projector. It's like, I'm gonna step back and let you shine, and like I will not just
yep,
uplift you, but like I will let you do it on your own.
yeah,
Here to protect you when you fall too, like so that you don't deal with the things that I went through in 16 carriages.
yep,
You know what I mean? Like it just felt like
exactly, yeah.
this transition of things that
It's
I went
it's
through,
so
and
intentional.
I'm gonna protect you from that as much as I can. But when you want to go through that, I will make sure that I support you all the way through. It's so beautiful. It's just like this loving, like, just promise, and it's
It like feels like a warm hug, you know?
it does. I love it. It's a
I
beautiful
love it.
message.
And then the next one, so when I first listened to it, I didn't really connect why like I was like, I understand the message of the song, but I didn't connect it until we found out that My Rose, sorry. I'm so bad at this. So My Rose, I didn't realize the depth of it and that this was almost her call out to Sir,
Yeah.
Rumi's brother.
Hmm.
But so when fans got the CDs, they put it in and they saw that it was called Mr. Sir
Yeah.
on the physical CDs, but on the album it's called My Rose.
Hmm.
And I was trying to think, I was like, why would she do that? Why would she change it? And then I kind of thought back to like the Renaissance film where he's not really in it. And there's a lot of people speculating that maybe he has like autism or he's something, there's something where she doesn't want him to be too in the spotlight because there might be something going on behind the scenes, which is nobody's business. And I do appreciate that I feel like people push boundaries with celebrity children. And I feel like we don't see a lot of people being like, "Where's Sir? Where's Sir? Why is Sir not around? Like, what was going on?" Like, there's just like some respect, I guess, which
Yeah.
thank God, let's get more of that.
Yeah.
Like,
Absolutely.
let's
Yeah.
keep that going.
Right.
But for her to do this song and know that it is for him
Mhm.
and it's called My Rose, and the whole message is like, everybody has imperfections, every rose has thorns, but
Mhm.
every rose gets picked because they're beautiful. It's such a beautiful message.
Yeah.
And I love that it's short, it's sweet, it's
Yeah.
to the point,
Yeah.
it's her little message to him. It's beautiful. I
I
love it.
know. I love it too. And I feel like the first listen, I actually didn't even notice that it went from Protector to My Rose. Honestly, on the first listen, I thought it was one song. And that was
Yeah,
just like,
right, because it's short.
it's short. And I thought it was just one because it felt like the message was together. It's like, yeah, when you
Yeah,
connect it
but
together,
that makes sense because 'cause they're
yeah,
twins, like, they
exactly.
should be together, and the
Mhm.
2 of them are.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I love
and,
that
like
message. And I also, I feel like the lyrics that kind of stick out to me is like, don't let you get yourself down,
yeah,
something to that effect. And
yep.
yeah, and it's just like, I love that message too, and I love that it's for her kids. But I also, again, I feel like it's for other people too. Like I just think
100%. This
it's
can be
fun. It's
spread to so
crazy.
many other ways.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I feel like all of
it's
it is
amazing.
messages to, like you said, to the public, to to people that are coming after her as musicians, to her family. It's like, it's a similar theme of messaging of, you will face challenges, and but persevere. Like you said, you will have thorns, but you
Yep,
still have great things about you, and just don't let yourself get in your own way.
exactly.
And that whole theme, that whole run, it's beautiful, it's stunning, and it's just so underrated.
It's perfectly done. Yeah, it's incredible. And when I was doing like this kind of breakdown, like when I was going through and like writing the outline for our episode,
Mhm.
I was finding more ties
Yeah,
of the album, like how there's so many, like we'll get obviously as we go through, but like it's really cool when an artist puts so much thought behind an album.
yeah,
And like there's that famous interview of her. She's like, people don't release
yeah.
albums anymore. They release singles. And I love that she's stayed true and on that track of like, no, I'm giving you a body of work, not just a song.
Right,
Like
right.
it's going to be a cohesive project.
Yeah,
So then we get to Smoke Hour, which is Willie Nelson, which is our first interlude of the album, which just so fun. Like I love that it sounds like we're tuning a radio
yeah.
and it's like a shift to a new genre because the beginning first part of the album's not slow, but it's got like a
Emotion.
like a slower feel to it, and
Mhm.
it's like more emotional. Turns the
Yeah.
radio like you would, change the song, and now we are in Texas Hold'em.
Oh my god.
Smash hit.
Smash!
Quite literally, smash hit. They're eating it up.
I like that Texas Hold'em. It's like I still love it, and I know a lot of times people go
Oh yeah,
album and like the singles just aren't as funny anymore because you know it, which I get
right.
that. But to
No,
me, I still listen to it every time. I do not skip it because I
all the
love
time. I
it.
don't skip it. Nope.
It's so
Mm-mm.
fun. It's so fun. I also think
Yeah.
it's such a smart decision to have Texas Hold'em as the lead single because I think it told
Yep.
exactly what type of vibe she was going for, what direction she was going with the new album. There was no confusion. She's going
Nope.
country. This is it, and we're gonna have a great time. Like that is the
And I
message
love,
Texas Hold'em tells me.
but and yeah, and I love that she released Texas Hold'em and 16 Carriages
Yeah,
together because it was like, hey, we're gonna have fun, but we're also getting into some mess. Like, there's some deep shit in here as well. Like, she gave us really that taste, and this album does have the mix of really everything:
yeah.
more emotional, more fun.
Mhm.
She gets a little, she's getting
Spicy.
down a little bit later in the album. Like,
Yeah,
we go through it on this album.
I know.
So
I
love, love,
completely
love
agree. I
Texas
love
Hold'em.
that Texas Hold'em was with 16 Carriages because, yeah, like you said, like it was also like, hey, we're gonna do storytelling as well, while also having a great time and going into this country era. But yeah, Texas Hold'em, smash hit. I will love that song forever.
Smash hit.
Yeah,
Love it. Then we go into Bodyguard, which so fun. I love this song.
vibey.
It
That's like
is
the word that I think when I hear that song. I'm like, this song is a vibe to me.
vibe. Yep. It is so just like it makes me feel just like a vibe. It
Yeah,
is just it's
you
so
just
good. I love
wanna
it. And I was like,
like have a cocktail
yeah,
and just
yes.
look at the sunset. That's what I want
I
to do.
just want to like my little two-step with my drink in my hands. Like it's just
Exactly.
so
Yeah.
And but she does not play about her man, and we learn that quick because
Mm.
this whole song, she's like, "I'll be your bodyguard." You know what I mean. And then we quickly find Miss Dolly Parton on the album,
I love that
which
Dolly is here. I love it so much.
genius,
Yeah.
genius, genius.
Yeah. No, I love it so much. And I feel like
Another,
I feel like she
you go ahead. Sorry.
needed to be here. Like I feel like she set the tone of like, yes, she's gonna cover Jolene, which I know is a very sensitive subject in the country music
Yep.
world because it's such an iconic
Ugh.
song.
Yeah.
And I get it. It's a very big hit. But I love that Dolly Parton set her stamp of approval and was like, hey, Beyonce,
Yep.
you get what I'm going through. I get what you're going through. I'm glad that you're going to cover this song. Like, she needed to do this.
Yep. Exactly. And then just kind of look at a glance, we get so bodyguard, she's obviously saying she's like, I'll be your bodyguard. She does not play about her man.
Mhm.
But then it goes from bodyguard to Jolene
Yeah.
and then or to the Dolly interlude and then Jolene. And it's like, I don't play about my man, but if someone comes around and tries, I'm gonna try you back.
Yeah, I'm gonna try you back.
So
And I'm going to give you
because
a warning.
this version of Jolene, like,
Yeah.
oh, she gives a warning and then she follows through.
She follows through. She's like, this is what's going to happen in Daughter. We'll get
Yep.
there. But, like, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah,
I'm
so
going to warn you now. I'm going to be kind and let you
yep.
know. I love it.
And also like the Becky with the good hair call out from
Oh,
Dolly and then into Jolene.
I love it.
Genius.
So,
And just like so cool that she put her own spin on this iconic song, and like people were like annoyed that she changed the lyrics, but it makes so much sense.
yeah.
And I think those people who are like, why'd she change the lyrics? Just it's the people who just listen to things surface level, which is totally fine. But it's like, if you're gonna bitch and moan about something, at least have your facts straight. Like,
Yeah.
she changed the lyrics because it relates to her in this way now, and she's
Yeah.
clearly she's still with her man,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
Jolene didn't take much. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think like that's the thing that people forget about Beyonce. It's like at the end of the day, she's gonna be authentic and true to herself.
Yep.
So
Yeah, she's not gonna take somebody else's work
yeah,
and just copy and paste. She's gonna make it her
she's
own.
gonna make it to who she is and what she would say in the
Yep.
situation. So yeah, I can't imagine Beyonce pleading to another woman, "Don't take my man." That wouldn't be
No,
to me.
never.
Beyonce saying, "Hey,
No,
don't do it because I am I will fuck somebody up." That sounds like Beyonce.
she's like, you forgot I'm from Texas. Like,
Exactly. Like that's Beyonce. And so it's like that's just more authentic and that just takes this classic and I feel like keeps a lot of what makes it classic, but like brings it to Beyonce, brings it to 2024. It's gorgeous. I also love the background
100%.
vocals for like I'm a Standby.
Yes.
That part is just like it's so good. The harmonies of it just ties it together.
It's so good.
Well. I love this cover.
Yeah. It's incredible. I love it. So she warns us on Jolene, don't take my man,
Yeah.
don't play, don't come near. And apparently they don't listen.
Yeah.
Jolene has a hearing problem because then we get into Daughter, and I love how you said so haunting in the best way,
Yeah.
because she warned us and she says, she's like, I'm nothing like my father, but double cross me and I'm just like him. I'm colder than Titanic water. Like, she warned us, and it is haunting. Like, it's very like, here's what happened. You know what I mean? Like, it's so,
I would never
I love it.
cross Beyonce. Like I love her.
Never.
I hear her. Like I just
terrified, literally,
love it.
Like insane. And I also love that in this one, you said that you grew up with choirs, and I was in like theater and choir in high school too. And she threw in the Carl Mio Ben cover, which is just like such like a classic.
Yeah.
I guess opera song. But the message of that song is missing a loved one and things like that. So for her to take that message of that song that like is so well known, but I don't think a lot of people know what the song means. I didn't know what it meant. I've sang it in choir before, but yeah, the message of that song is like mourning the loss of someone, of a loved one. And I just think it's fun that she kind of ties that in with this. Like, it's just like a fun, I don't know. She just, again, she thinks of everything.
She thinks of everything. And it was just so shocking, I think, for her to just break out into this opera in the middle of a song. Like this song particularly, it was just so,
it's incredible.
And just to
and no one saw it coming. So when it started, I texted my group chat of like my 3 friends that I did like theater and stuff with. I was like, guys, when you get to Daughter, just be prepared. And they were like, you are lying, because we all did it in choir in high school. So like, it was just, I was like, guys, no way. I was like, that could have been us.
It's so shocking. I love it though. It's so surprising. And that's the thing. It's like you think you know what the song is, and you think you know where it's going, and then here she comes to switch it up. I love Daughter. It's so funny. I saw a video where someone was comparing Daughter to Olivia Pope from Scandal, where and it was like, oh yeah, this is it. It's like double cross me and I will be like my father. And like, for those who watch
very much,
that's a scary man. And so I felt like that was such which again, going back to having this music in the digital age is so cool, because like you get to see everyone else's interpretation of it and the connections that they make as well, and it just like brings new life to the song and to the album itself. But
I even feel like us doing this, like I'm even like reading over like what you put in there earlier, and like while I was writing my notes, like I was thinking, I like saw the album such a different lens, which it's so fun.
Which is great.
So we go from.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think it's great. I think it's great when an album can do that, when it can cause conversations, create conversations, and everyone can have your own interpretation of it, because that's what art is. Like, art is what, when you can draw your own kind of conclusions to it. And so that's what's so fun about this album, is everyone has a story tied into, this actual release.
Right. I love it. Then we take a little turn again into Spaghetti.
Yeah.
Now, upon first listen, when it started and the whole genres are a funny concept, that whole message, I was like, oh, she's about to deliver us something. And then we get that siren kind of sound where it's like the like in the beginning, and I was like, I turned to Thomas and I was like, no way.
Yeah.
And then she starts rapping.
Beyonce is gonna
And I was like, they are so. Oh, she's gonna rap down, and the girls are lucky she doesn't take rap more seriously.
honestly.
I legitimately, I was like, you've got to be like,
Yeah.
I was floored.
Yeah.
Oh
I
my
was the
god.
most shocked with this song. I think when I heard her, like you said, when she dropped the beat, when she started rapping, I was like, "Whoa, wait a
I
second."
was like, no fucking way. Like
Yeah.
it's insane.
Yeah, I know. So I loved this album. I think, like you said, Linda Martell introducing it and talking about genres, which she does again and later in the album. I think specifically
Yeah,
from her means a lot to talk about the
so
of
much.
genres, which is one of the themes of this song of this album. Was yes, it's a country album, or but the concept of genres itself is limiting, even though this is a
Right.
country album, and so we're gonna push those limits. And then she does in this song, and it's so fun, and it's so just like
So good.
in your face.
It literally makes me like I'm ready to like take over the world. I'm
Yeah,
like, oh, I can do anything. I'm ready to run through a wall.
right.
Like I can do whatever.
Exactly. I,
But the messaging in it is so like she's saying the one line that really stuck out to me was they know it's slapping, here they come yapping.
yeah.
Yeah, because as soon as you do something that people is good, people are gonna come judge.
Yep.
And that's exactly what happens every time Beyonce does anything.
Yeah.
Everyone always has something to say, but it always slaps.
Monday I'm overrated. Tuesday on my
Tuesday on my dick.
best.
Very much that. Exactly.
The lyrics that stick out to me a lot is that cunty country petty petty pet. Like that's what I hear over
Oh,
and over.
yes.
And I
Yep.
love that,
Mhm.
like,
It's so good.
and people are like debating if that lyric is like kind of alluding to
And
accuracy, if like
I saw that.
yeah, like Renaissance was the country, like era, and then like country is now. Like, are we gonna get petty with Act Three? Are we gonna get even
Right.
more petty than we are right now? Like,
And I'm like, how do you? Yeah, it's crazy. Ugh, I'm obsessed. And I saw something too. I talked about this in the episode last week, but I was like, why is it called spaghetti? And people are thinking that it's because of spaghetti Western films, which just a cool tie in there. Like again, she's so smart.
She does
She's
her
so smart.
research, and that's the thing that I
Yeah.
she mentioned it in before the album came out in that Instagram post that we talked about, where she said like after that what happened at the CMAs happened, she's like I went back and researched it,
Yeah.
and like I went
And she
into
found
it.
every
Yeah, and like she doesn't do anything half baked. She's like if I'm
nope.
gonna do something, I'm gonna do
Nope.
it in the right way, and I'm gonna get the right information. Like she's an informed person. Like that is like if she's gonna be petty,
It's not even 100%. It's like 200%.
exactly. And like that's what I love about her and like her creating this art. Like she doesn't just do it just because she feels like it. It's like I'm gonna go back and like make sure that this information is correct. I'm gonna research.
Yeah.
Like you said, tie it into these things that we didn't know, like discovering it for new people as well. It's genius.
It's so good. So we go from spaghetti into alligator tears, which I just love the sound of. It is sonically just such like a I just love it. I love the way it feels. It almost gives the vibe of Bodyguard, where it's just like a good vibe.
I agree.
Like it's more I would say like slower than Bodyguard, but it just again just like sounds and makes you feel good. Just the sound of it.
Yeah. And I
but
love
then the messaging again.
I love when she sings in that lower register as well. It just feels
Yeah,
like
yeah.
pulls.
It just feels like again like a warm hug.
Yeah.
It's like ooh, it just feels so good.
Yeah.
And again, she does not play with about her man.
Yeah.
She's saying she'll do anything for him. She adores him even through his alligator tears, which assuming that's alluding back to the 2016 whatever drama. I'm sure he shed some alligator tears to cover his ass there.
Right.
But let bygones be bygones. Beyonce can get over it. I'll get over it too.
Exactly. I know.
But
but I know, like even
I was like, I can't get into it. Yeah.
but when she says, you say stop a river and I'll build a dam, like.
Yep.
Has actually she's been down bad, I think, for a long time, and she knows how to sing about being down bad.
Oh, you say change religions. Now I spend Sundays with you. Like she really is. Yeah.
Like first, I am a lover.
She's down. Like she is down bad if she's into something. But it just goes back to everything she does. She does it 200%. Like nothing in her life is she's just like us. She can't like anything casually. Like, everything has to be deep in.
That's a great
point. Moving through, right. We get Another interlude from Mr. Willie Nelson, Smoke Hour 2. Again, giving us that country radio feel. I love that he is like changing through the stations.
Mm-hmm.
It's just such a cool little moment. Like, it's just like a fun, just a smart thing to do. It just makes the album feel more of an experience than just an album, you know?
Yeah, absolutely feels like an experience.
And
I also, again, this Willie Nelson being on this, it's just a reminder of like,
huge.
yeah, I love that these legends are here being like, yeah, Beyonce is country. We're supporting her. And
And she's like, they're like, Beyonce's on our level with us.
yeah,
Like, they're able to give her and like
yeah,
include her in this because she's done more than enough work to be
here.
sat in that status. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love it.
Ugh, just incredible. And then we go from that little interlude, switching into Just for Fun, which is Beyonce and Willie Jones, which again, just like the way that she was so intentional with the artists that she included, and to make sure that she included like artists that are in this genre that she obviously respects. She wouldn't put them on the album if not. And just to like amplify these voices, it's amazing. This one though, she's saying, I laugh and I lie, the coyotes cry, and times move quickly, so do I. Time heals everything, and I don't need anything. So it's almost like she's like praying that things are gonna change. Like, we know she's very spiritual. She's praying that like, hey, time heals everything. I can get through this. I'm here for a reason. I don't really know my purpose, and I don't know why something like this, whatever she's thinking about, is happening to me, but it's for a reason. And she's like, I'm gonna get through it. Which again, just that message of like perseverance and pushing through, and like everything's gonna be okay. Like it might be a rough patch, but you're gonna get through it. It's just such a, again, just like a beautiful message that anybody can apply to, you know?
Yeah. And I definitely, that time heals everything is, definitely, I think one of my key lyrics for this album.
Yeah.
I mean, for this song, because it's a theme.
Yeah.
Like, that's what she talked about in the first, like, 5 songs. It's what she's kind of talking about till the end of, you know.
And she's
in flamenco. Like, she's like, time heals everything. And, like, that's, like, been her perseverance. Like, that's how she keeps going, and I just love that being a theme
100%.
in this album. It's so
even like when you boil it down to thinking about like the CMA, where like I'm sure she was devastated that night. She just performed. Daddy Lessons was her first country track in years, and she just performed it with the Dixie Chicks, like on the whole thing, and to get all that backlash. And I'm sure in that moment she was like, you know what? Time heals everything. I will get through this. I'll be okay. Like, and also thinking like Daddy Lessons being on Lemonade, like she obviously just went through such a hard time with that. Like Lemonade, there's a whole message in that too. Sandcastles, like we built the sandcastles, they washed away, but then they rebuilt it. Time heals everything. It's just, there's so many things you could tie into the messaging. Oh, I just love her.
And I didn't even think about sandcastles. That's such a good point. Like,
you can push through.
Exactly. It's just so good. I love it. And just for fun, Willie Jones, when he started singing, I was like, ooh, like the voice.
Yeah, 100%. His voice really has such like a it almost like how she has that like that soul in her voice. Like he had the same, and I was like, oh, I like it. I actually went to listen to some of his music after, which is just the point of why he's on it, and it was good. Like I don't usually listen. That's not really like my type, but I liked it. It was good.
He has a really great voice, and I love it. I think he was really great for this song specifically. I think he meshed really well with the track.
Yeah. Now this next track. This is big.
This is
for both of us. For both of us, it is.
But I think this is very special to you.
Okay. If you aren't keeping up with the track list, next up is Two Most Wanted, Miley Cyrus and Beyonce. Now, I could write a thesis. I could go on, and I did go on my episode. I'm not going to go on here too long about why it's so important, because it just is. Beyonce and Miley are two of my all-time favorite artists of all time. Always have been, always will be. And I kid you not, when the rumors of this started, my phone blew up. When it was confirmed, my phone blew up. When it came out, my phone blew up. Like Miley being on a Beyonce track is genuinely like my Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And I won't go on more of why or whatever, but the song itself, because that's what we're here to talk about, the actual music.
Yeah.
Bias aside, one of the most beautiful songs I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah. I love women duets, and I don't think there's in music.
Yes, I agree.
And the way that they were able to do it, and it didn't feel like a feature. It felt truly like a collaboration. This was like you were both singing with each other. Like I don't
Yeah.
think they were in the same room when they recorded it, but if you told me that they were, I would believe it because it felt
Believe it.
so insane.
It's so their voices just melt
Yeah,
together. It's like, oh, it's so good.
yeah,
But I love that you just said that about the feature, not sounding like a feature, it is a collab because that's something that I really admire with Beyonce. If you think back to any of her other collabs, Telephone, same thing.
yeah,
It's really both of them split.
yeah,
Even Feeling Myself with Nicki, like
yeah.
they're collabed there.
Mhm.
She redid Flawless with Nicki and made it a new song. Like she's
Yeah.
so good about not just being like, oh, give me a verse or I'll give
Mhm.
you a verse. Like Savage with
Yeah,
Megan, same thing.
yeah,
They rework it. It becomes a whole new work of art, and nobody is overshadowed.
yes,
Nobody is.
yeah,
It's so well done.
yeah. It's
I
just
just love it.
I think I cried actually this first time I listened to Two Most Wanted.
Oh, I'm crying on the internet. I have the video of me crying literally is on the internet for people to see because I didn't record my whole reaction to the album because it's a long album,
Yeah,
but I was like I need to record this one and uh
yeah.
just the message I was excited because of Beyonce featuring Miley, but the message of it is just so sweet. Like
Mhm.
to say and like not to be cheesy, but like me and Thomas were listening together. So like it was just cute. It's like I'll be your shotgun rider till the day I die. Like
I know
you're down
some
for whatever.
wedding song going forward, you know?
Yep, 100%. I'm like, oh, this has to be like a cake cutting or like a walking down the aisle, like
Mhm.
some sense because it is just such a beautiful
Yeah,
song.
it is.
I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed.
I
Oh, I love it. I love it so much.
I actually like this was the first song because I was listening to the album all the way through, of course. I
Yeah,
actually had to repeat it. I couldn't. I was like,
me too. Oh my god, me too. I literally was like, Thomas, run it back. I need to listen to it a second time because the first time I was in such a state of like, this is really happening, and then I was like, wait, the song. And not that I knew the song would be great, but I was like, once I digested that it actually was happening, and I boiled into this, like boiled down the song, I was like, I need one more listen, like a real listen.
yeah, I'm gonna listen to it
So
after
good.
probably because
Yeah, right, literally. Moving on, another feature, a collab, Levi's jeans with Post Malone, which is so fun.
so fun and so surprising in the best
Yeah,
way. Like,
I never would have expected to see Post on a Beyonce album.
me neither.
Not that he doesn't deserve to be on it, because I love Post. I love his music. I've seen him in concert. Like I love Post, and just not something I ever would have expected.
Yeah.
And he was singing like
Yeah.
fully. Vocals were on
See, and I don't know Post Malone that much outside of like the singles, you know, like I know Sunflower,
the singles. Yeah,
like you know, I know those big songs, and so I haven't really dived into his music. So when I heard him sing, I was like, wait, Post Malone can sing like this?
yeah.
Like I was
Right?
very
Yeah, I think a lot of people were shocked. I was even shocked, and I'm a fan of him. I'm not like a huge stan or anything, but
yeah,
like I am a fan of his music. I listen to all of his albums and stuff. But even I was like,
yeah.
oh, okay.
I
Post
loved
Malone
it.
posted up on the vocals.
Yeah, and that bridge at the end, like I was just like,
Yeah,
oh my god! And then
and also,
I know you made a note too about the
go,
jeans, like the lyrics.
yeah,
You can hug this. What was that? You can hug this
you can.
all day long.
It's
Yes.
so like, and the song doesn't sound like sexy.
No.
It's more of like a fun sound. But when you listen to the lyrics, I'm like, oh, it's so like saucy. I'm like, girl.
I
But
love
yeah, you could hug up. I wish you were my Levi's jeans. You could hug this ass all night long. I love you down to the bone. And then I love that she says, meet my mama, be at church all day, be my Nick at night. Kind of just saying, like, I will be there. I'll meet your mom. I'll come to
yeah,
church with you. I'll be there at night. Like, I am down
yeah,
for, again,
100% is.
200% committed to this man.
And I love the call
Also,
out to that Post Malone says you are my renaissance. I was like, ooh.
yes. I was like, ooh, I love it. And then the denim on the denim on denim
Oh
on
yeah,
denim. I'm like, okay, tour fit
yeah,
set. It was silver for Renaissance,
yeah. He
denim
told us.
for
Yeah,
this tour.
yeah. I love it. This is
I love it.
song, such a good collaboration. So surprising but perfect. Like it made sense.
So good.
I heard it.
Obsessed. Then we go into flamenco, which you say I need 10 more
I
minutes of
need
this, and I could
10
not agree more.
minutes of this song. It like makes me sad. I need to.
I know. It's so good. This one, it's pretty much like you don't know what you got until it's gone.
Yeah,
Like she's yearning. She said yearning to settle down, needs to remind herself that she needs to take a breath and remember she's forever young.
yeah,
She's
yeah,
saying she's like, hey, slow down, appreciate what you have now, because you never know when it's going to be gone.
yeah,
Which again, just a message that anybody can apply to their
yeah,
life. You
yeah.
know,
And it feels
beautiful.
like that theme that we're saying, like everything's gonna be okay. You gotta just kind of
Yep.
keep pushing, just slow down.
Persevere.
And
Just
yeah,
keep pushing.
persevere. It's okay. And like, but it's also like this acknowledgement of I get anxious. I feel like I'm getting ahead of myself. I feel like I need help. Sometimes I feel alone. Like my day ones aren't
Yeah.
here, you know, for me. And like I feel like I need to settle down. So like there's that acknowledgement of like, yeah, you will feel like that. It's not like you'll never feel like anxious or
Right.
upset or any of these things.
You're
It's
never.
just a
Yeah.
matter of taking a breath. It's okay. Like as long as you can take a breath
Yep.
and you know just relax and it will be okay. And like that's what I loved. And I've seen so many people too have this emotional reaction to this very
Yeah.
short like song interlude. I don't know what you want to call it, but it's so powerful in like the 1 minute that we have of it. It's
Yeah.
a beautiful message, and I connect.
She doesn't. She's really good about like not even interludes, like though they are interludes and like technically just like filler tracks. Like each, even a short song, it packs a punch. Like the message is there. You know what I mean?
Filler. You're right. Exactly.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah.
Speaking of interludes, next up is the Linda Martell show, which again, Linda being on this is just so major. Like it's such a, it's again, just another like legend and someone who has such a stamp in this country world that's like, she is country.
Yeah.
And she's kind of just letting us know, like, we're getting another shift in the album. And that we do.
Yeah. And
girl, because we go right.
I love that she said that it's a listening experience. Because by this point I was like, oh yeah, no, this is an experience. It's not an album. It's an experience.
And this kind of brings us into, though we just went through, we like had our ringer of emotions, and the rest of all the rest of the songs obviously are very still, they have like big messages, but we turn the car around for a bit because Yaya, oh my god, that intro, first and like, I can't. It's so good.
I love when she calls out. I love when she does that call and answer.
Yes. It reminded me of like Charlie's Angels, and I was thinking like with Destiny's Child. Like I don't know if that was a reference or anything, but it just gave me that like feel. Like
I love
because like even during because was it the Super Bowl or Beychella? I forget, but they have, it says "Good Morning Angels," and Destiny's Child, when they're on stage, they say "Good morning, Charlie," and then they go, it's a Super Bowl, they go into their poses, and as soon as I heard the call response, I was like, oh my god, it's Charlie's Angels. Like I was like, it's just I don't know, maybe she didn't think of it, but she thinks of everything, so I'm sure she did.
Smart connection, Andrew. And I feel like I didn't think of that at all, but it's a callback for sure. I mean, I think it's a callback. What I thought of was,
and that was such a huge part in their career. Like I remember when that happened.
Yeah.
It was huge for them.
Yeah. And you know what I thought of was Partition, because again, Beyonce, I'm a self-titled girl. And
Partition's my favorite Beyonce song of all time. I don't know if you know that. That's my number one favorite song. Yeah, we'll actually get in. We'll talk about it in a bit when we talk about another song. You'll see how it ties in. Partition is my all-time favorite Beyonce song. So yes,
that's a great one.
Very much that.
Yeah, like that, hey Miss Carter, say hey Miss Carter. Like that's what it gives me, and I just love that. I'm like, it gives me like she's engaging with the audience. I feel like I'm in the audience, even though I'm like listening on my phone. It's so fun.
Right, she makes you feel like she makes everybody feel like they're again. Everybody is seen. Everybody is there. That overall message. Oh, I just love her. But the song itself. So she says, history can't be erased. She's there because those are her roots.
Yeah.
Oh my God, my Siri just went off. I guess something I said sounded like, hey, Siri. Yeah, she's saying, she's like, history can't be erased, and you can't erase my history because I'm country. I'm from Texas. Yeah. Like, and she's the Bible on the dash is like being protected through her life. Like she went through life. She's gone through so many things in her life. Obviously, yes, she is Beyonce. Her problems aren't necessarily what regular day-to-day people go through, but she still goes through motion. Do you know what I mean? So for her to be like, I kept the Bible on the dash. Then what's the pistol or something? Like, you know, she's just saying, she's like, I'm protected through life. I am driving through life, and I am
pushing.
It's so good.
It's so
fun.
And
she just wants to shake some ass. Me too,
it.
girl.
She wants to just be clapping. It's so fun. I'm like, this is
it's so good.
It's so fun.
And then like she's like, we're twerking, we're shaking, like in that part, like it's so good.
I just can see it.
It's very I played it last night. Anyone listening, my birthday was yesterday, and I gave it on the playlist, and we all were like, yeah, living.
But on for sure.
Yeah. Good, yeah. Oh, and you said you called out the Good Vibration sample.
That Good Vibration,
it's so good.
Is so. It just feels like it it gives me that little party.
It makes
It's so good.
sense.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
perfectly in there. Like,
Yep.
I love it. It's so smart. I love this song. It's fun,
Yep.
and like I said, it's summer song.
It's genius.
Yeah.
Yeah. We then go into Oh Louisiana, which is an interlude. It's actually a Chuck Berry song, which I didn't know before. So which it's definitely, I feel like this interlude sounds the most abstract of them all. It's got that almost like Grateful Dead kind of like psychedelic feel, which
Yeah.
still ties back to that country root because it all kind of, but which makes sense actually. I'm sure my friend Ayler is listening. She listens to every episode and she's a huge Deadhead, Grateful Dead fan. So she was texting me about this. And when she said, she was like, oh my God, Chuck Berry and the Grateful Dead, like they drew from each other's inspirations a lot. I was like, oh my God, that makes sense why it sounds like this. So loved that. And again, you say each interlude is perfectly taking us through the album.
Yeah.
And it's true. Like they are perfect. Just the sound, everything. I just love it.
It's not choppy at all. It's just like,
no.
It's like, it's just flowing into this new song. And now we're here.
And this is one of my favorite interludes actually in the album, from Oh Louisiana into Desert Eagle. I was like, it's such a good transition.
Desert
it's
Eagle
so good.
like,
and Desert Eagle,
that bass like just brings you in.
Like,
okay, what's happening?
You're like, ooh. And also like the double meaning of the title. Yeah. So do you know? Yeah. So obviously
I've heard it.
So Desert Eagle is a gun. Like it's a big gun. Like huge. Like someone posted, they were like, my husband, I hate to even be like, oh, her husband's into guns, but I guess he's into guns. Not my circus, not my monkeys. But she said he explained to me like how the magnitude of like a regular pistol and a Desert Eagle are, and she posted a photo of like of comparison. And I was like, oh, this thing is big, and she's clearly alluding to something else because Desert Eagle is also a sex position. So, girl,
she's gonna throw a little. She likes to get spicy.
She likes to get down. She likes to get down.
And so I love when she throws that in. Again, not to talk about subtitle again, but it reminds me of Rocket and like
yes. And I'm so glad you said that because I thought it and I didn't write it because I was just I was like going through this. But yeah, very very much giving Rocket.
Like I love it. She's just like, I am a woman. I'm gonna talk about
I'm gonna talk about my sex, like
my sexual life, because I'm grown and I'm able to do that, and I love that about her. I feel like that she's not afraid to do it, and she does it in such like a beautiful way too, where
it's not where it's like, and like don't get me wrong, like WAP comes on, I live, I'm like, yeah, it's like I live, but it's like the similar messaging where like obviously WAP is about having sex and this all that, but very explicitly. Where this she does it in a way that's it's like, oh, like a little classy almost, you know what I mean? And like that's literally no shade to Megan and Cardi. It's just fact of the matter.
She does it in her own
way. I mean this
authentic to Beyonce, into how she wants to tell the story, and it's really smart.
Yeah, exactly. And then we go into Riverdance, which again, kind of a shift because Riverdance is another name. It's a style of Irish step dancing. So when I saw that, I was like, what? And then the sound itself is even like, I was like, oh, I was like bumping. I was like, this is fun.
I love the beat. I love the music. And I've loved the videos that I've seen of like Irish dancers like dancing to this.
To it. Yeah. It's really
fun.
Cool.
And I'm like, this is just a really fun, good song. I feel good listening to it.
And I for this one, some of these songs, the message is very clear. Some of them wasn't as clear. This one I did some research on like Genius of their lyrics and try to get just like I was like, I know what the song's about, but I want to find out there's always more. And I was like, oh my God, this I didn't even realize. She says, we fight, but we must make amends, which is a line from Friends. The song on the Carter album. So she ties that in. And then she says, I plan to see your heart again on Saturday and Sunday nights, changing her religion, spending her Sunday with you, like just an alligator tears. Like just another subtle little callback. It's just so perfectly done. She does it. She does it so well.
I love it. I'm glad
I love it.
Excited. It's one of those songs where I'm like,
I missed it. But then I read, and it's again just tying back to her relationship and everything. She's I love her. And now this next one is one of my top 3 on the albums. I love this track, Two Hands to Heaven. Amazing. Like the way it sounds itself just is so I love the sound of every song, but like there's certain ones that really stand out sonically to me. And
Yeah.
this one, when it came on, I was like, my favorite on Renaissance is Summer Renaissance
Mhm.
because of the sound and the way that it makes me feel.
Mhm.
And this song has that same feel to it, where I like
Yeah.
love how it makes me feel and just like the song itself. So I absolutely love this. And again, she's singing about growth. She's singing about the relationships in her life. She's thinking about her relationship with herself, and she gets a little spiritual on it, where she's kind of she says I forget the exact line, but she calls out like God only knows why, because there's
Mhm.
obviously things in her life that like are only between her and God.
Yeah.
Like, whether you believe in God or not, like
Yeah. We'll never
that's
know.
what she believes in.
Mhm.
Yeah. So like she obviously has things that kind of weigh on her, and
Mhm.
she's worked on her relationship with herself,
Mhm.
with God, with Jay-Z, with
Mhm.
everybody in her life. Like I feel like she's someone who like if she wasn't Beyonce, like she probably would have been a
Yeah.
therapist, because she's very intellectual in that sense, where
She's
she
so in
really
tune.
can take thoughts.
Mhm.
Yeah, she's so in tune with people's emotions and thoughts and her own, and she's really able to just like give it her all. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I love Two Hands to Heaven. Like, someone said that it was like the Virgo's groove of the album for me. Like, and when they said
Mm,
that, I was like, yeah, like
yeah.
I really love like it's country, but I feel like it also brings that R&B influence here.
hmm
Um,
This whole second kind of like part half
yeah,
of the album really ties in that like R&B, even a
yeah,
little house. Like she
yeah.
really plays with it, and it kind of
I love it.
tips into the idea of like this is not a country album,
Yeah,
it's a Beyonce album, and
exactly.
that in fact it is.
Exactly, and she's not forcing anything. It's just more of like,
No,
this is just how the song should be, and you buy into it
right.
immediately. And like that part
Hmm.
where she's singing "Baby, I've been waiting my whole life." I'm
Yes.
like, it's just it takes you and it pulls you, and I'm here with her, and I'm like, I feel it.
Oh, it's
Everything she's
incredible.
saying, I feel every emotion. And
Yep.
yeah, it's a top three for me as well. I love it.
Yeah, I love it. And now, Tyrant, which is a fan favorite across the board. Everybody's obsessed with this, as they should be.
Yeah.
First and foremost, that intro,
Yes.
that like the like
Yeah.
one by one.
Yeah.
Yeah, like,
Hmm.
and then it just drops that beat.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I heard DA got that dope drop his like tag on it,
Yeah.
the second I heard it, I was already into it because of the beat, but I was like, oh, bitch. Like I knew it was gonna deliver and serve because of that. Just that once you get that like intro into a bass drop, you know it's gonna be good.
Yeah.
Once I heard that on it, that it was a DA track, I was like, oh babe, we are in for it. I was
Yeah.
set. I was like, oh, her and Megan are swapping producers a little bit, I guess.
Yeah.
And it is unreal.
It's unreal.
Unreal.
It's like yeah, that transition for she's singing about Hangman and then that beat drop. It was like it just takes
That
you. Again,
bum, bum.
like you think you know what's happening. You think you know what the song sounds like and the direction.
You
And
never know.
no, just kidding. Here we go. But it still makes sense. Like it still sounds like one
Yeah, it
song.
still hits. It fits on the album still.
Yeah, it's perfect.
And this one, she is getting down
Yeah.
every time she rides it. Like
Yeah.
she is
She'll let
this
us know how she gets. Like she's just like
right.
tell you who
Yes,
I am and how I am, and and I'm like I get Beyonce's vibe. Like I get what she's going from, but
it's just like a sexy song.
yeah,
Like that's all I can say. Like it is. I literally wrote this song is unreal,
yeah,
and the intro is cunt. Like that's exactly all I can say. Like it is just
yeah.
oh, it's so
I
good.
feel like another
It's
point
so
to
good.
listen to it. I'm just like I'm
Yeah.
not myself.
No, literally, it's like what's that video? I don't know where it's from, but just that like woman on the bus and she's like grinding on the
Yeah,
bus. Like that's how I feel.
that's exactly how I feel.
I'm like, it's literally that.
Literally, yep.
It's so funny. And then we take another switch to Sweet Honey Buckin',
Yeah,
which when I saw this title, I was like, what the fuck
yeah,
is
no,
this?
yeah,
And I was like, I immediately thought of Pure Honey because of honey, obviously, which I don't think is something to overlook. But this is when I was talking about earlier where I tie in Partition. I love, love, love when she does two different tracks in one song and switches it. So when she
mhm,
starts with Beyonce into
yeah,
Partition,
yep,
Obsessed,
yeah,
Pure Honey, where it starts with Pure, then goes into Honey,
yeah,
Obsessed. And this,
yeah.
I didn't think she could do three in one, but
No.
never doubt her.
And it makes sense. That's like the best thing about this. It's like, and it's really
That's what blows my mind.
no, it's like coming close to like I was listening to it yesterday when I was like kind of preparing for.
Did you see the fireworks behind me from my iMessage? I hate these Apple things. They freak me out. But this to break the fourth wall. I'm not doing a video episode. Obviously, if you're listening to this, you know that. But I were like on my computer and I just like made an expression and fireworks went off. So I guess my computer is also excited about the Beyonce album.
Your computer's in the Beyhive.
Literally.
But when I was listening to this song, the transition from Sweet to Honey, like Honey itself, I'm like, I want it to be longer. I think it's great the way it is, but I'm like, I just love that honey. It's just so like
it's sweet so like honey, literally. Yeah, it just has like that.
It feels so good.
But then
it's like
that switch to Buckin'.
It's like, whoa.
I was like, are you out of your damn mind? Beyonce, Giselle Knowles Carter?
It's like it's so genius. And it's just like, again, like you said, it's 3 different songs for this one. But it all makes sense in one track.
It's so impressive. It really is so impressive. I just love it. I love it. Yeah. It's so good.
And I love that like Shabuzi in that first part was like he sounds so good. And I love that he's on 2 of the country songs that are hip hop influenced, which sounds like from his music as well. That's kind of the vibe he brings.
Yeah, his vibe.
Yeah, and I feel like I love that Beyonce wasn't taking these people or these collaborators and making them mold into what she does. It was more of like
she did it with them.
Yeah, and it's like your individualism can come into this collaboration, which is beautiful. It's like that's how it was with like Miley. Like she does great ballads. Like she's a really good vocal singer and like she's a
talented vocalist. Yeah,
and like just for every like Tanner, Adele, those like they. When you go to her music as well, like she does a lot of just her singing on a guitar, like, and it's just like to bring those individuals and letting them bring what they're good at into Beyonce's album. It's
like she knows anyone can say what they want about Beyonce. She's gonna shine and excel in what she does. Yeah. Like sales numbers aside, which I know she doesn't really care about, nobody really should care about sales, but like she is going to put out a body of work that shines and excels. And the fact that she's like, I know she could do any genre she wants, clearly. She's like, let me give these artists tracks that they're going to shine in with me. And it enhances it together. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's so good. And then the AOTY, I ain't win.
Oh, I know.
Oh, she was sitting there when Jay was up there giving his speech, just sitting there with her smug look because she knew this track was about to drop. She was like, talk your shit because I already did, bitch.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. And I love that she's mentioning it too because I think it could be easy to avoid it or pretend like you don't care. But it's okay to care. Like, hey, like people it's my hard work.
Yeah. And okay. Right. And she doesn't need an album of the year Grammy to tell us that like she's putting out insane body. She's the most awarded artist in Grammy history. Like she doesn't need it, but like, and she doesn't show us that side of her where like she, is upset about certain things. Like we don't see that in real time, but for her to put that line, I was like, okay, she's a little mad, but she's going to keep pushing. Cause obviously she doesn't care. Like she's fine.
The theme of this album. It's so genius.
It's so, I didn't even think of that until you just said it. I'm like, wait, yeah, it's just tying it all back in. Genius. Yeah. And then speaking of genius, we are at the final track of the album, Amen.
Wow.
This song is so beautiful.
What a way.
Just the sound, the lyrics, just what a way to wrap up the album and to tie in American Requiem, back the opening track. Yeah. It really just puts the bow on top and like completes the circle.
Yeah, and I know you said you used to do theater, right? Like this kind of gives you those musical vibes, where they the melodies.
It's like a reprise.
Exactly, it's like a reprise, and that's what I got from this. And I was like, yeah, it feels more like a musical to me. I'm like, I could actually see Cowboy Carter being,
as like a stage production.
Exactly, I could go to a stage production because it tells stories. The music all connects,
and it's fun music, and there's also those sad moments, and and it's totally.
When it came to Amen, I was like, I could see this on a stage.
100%
performed by different performers too, not just Beyonce.
Yeah.
I love
it. Almost like what they did with like Jagged Little Pill, with that musical where they took oh my god, why am I blanking on the album? Whose album is that? Why can't I think? I can't think of the name. Oh my god, this is so embarrassing. Anyway, they took the album and they made it into the Broadway show, which I feel like they could do the
I
same with
totally could
this.
see that for Cowboy Carter.
Yeah.
But yeah, the way it wraps it up, and just like the chorus, the melodies, like that will always grab me. And like
Yeah.
and it just brings back like that well, she says the words like, "I need to make you proud, but tell me, can you
Yes.
hear me now?" So like in the
Yeah,
beginning,
like tell me, like even before I'm shining and doing my best, like tell me you're still here and watching the whole
yeah,
ride. You know what I mean?
exactly. It's like in the beginning, she's like, "Can you hear me? Can you see me? Like, are you seeing me?" And now that I've told this whole story and I've taken you along this journey, do you see now? Do you see what I'm going through? Like,
Yep.
do you understand
Like, do
what
you
I'm trying
see?
to tell you? And it's just like
Yeah.
it's a beautiful way to wrap it up.
It's so
Yeah.
genius. It's so smart. And I also love this is something that cuz obviously it's a callback to American Requiem and
Mhm.
the whole album that we just listened to, and she says the house we never settled in,
Yeah.
which is the callback there, and she's like my, like we never this I'm like tripping up my words. She's saying she's calling back to it like we never settled into that house, but we got through
Yeah.
everything. Like we were able to still get through. Like we're okay. We didn't settle in that moment, but look at us
Look
now.
at it.
And also, I don't know if this is anything, but and then I just think like obviously she dropped the single My House
Mhm.
after Renaissance was long over and it wasn't part of the album. Like that is a new song.
Mhm.
And I just kind of think of like, I don't know, is that like a call to that?
Yeah.
Because they're obviously all like intertwined, just like cool little things that like I might be overthinking, and if I am, fine by me, put the clown makeup on. But I just, the way that she ties things in to a whole is just incredible. I'm
Yeah.
obsessed.
No, I love it. And I think it's okay to make those connections again. Like I feel like art is to be interpreted how it connects with you. And I think that's a really
Yeah.
good connection. And I like the lines in Amen where she says, "We'll be the ones that purify our father's sins." Because I feel like in the
Yes.
beginning she's saying like, hey, like again, join me on this movement. And now she's ending it by saying, like, hey, yes, all these things happen, and yes, these things are in place to keep people out, certain groups out, and to really separate and divide us. But we can be the ones, like, if you just let the love in, like she talked about in American Requiem, if you do those
Yep.
things and if you stand with us, we can be the ones that changes that. And I
Right.
think it just wraps this album up in the most gorgeous, like meaningful.
Such a perfect way. And then I also, we won't go too into it, but I love that people are now like putting, if you put Renaissance right after, there's like that at the end of Amen, there's like that ding.
Mhm.
And then it just like, I'm that girl starts. And it like,
Mhm.
it makes sense. Like we're seeing the albums kind of come together.
Yeah.
But I also I love that you could see how the albums go together
Mhm.
and like they could bleed into each other. But it also, you could just listen to the album and loop it
Yeah.
and it loops back to American Requiem. Like it just, any way you listen to it is like perfectly done. I'm obsessed.
Yeah, it's really just an amazing book.
I love
I
it.
can't believe it. I can't believe that we
It's insane.
talked.
I know. Like I just cannot believe we are living through this
Yeah.
masterpiece and like so well thought out project.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. Exactly.
It's incredible. So we've gone through the album. We've talked about Beyonce. Obviously our overall thoughts. You know what we're thinking about. This album is a fucking masterpiece.
Masterpiece. Like
I don't have any other words to say.
like someone
I have no other things to say.
someone explained it this way, and it's like I know we talked about it already. Is that this is an experience? It's not just an album.
No.
So I remember someone on Twitter, I think, or X, said that it's a museum. It's a history.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, it's like a history lesson.
Just like putting these stories that we don't really know of, it's uplifting these people that we're not familiar with into the spotlight, and it's just highlighting. It feels like a history lesson, and it feels like I'm walking through a museum and looking at all these different.
Yeah. I love that idea of yeah. I love that. I'm gonna have to listen when I listen to it the next time, because I'll probably start playing it when we're done. Like I'm gonna think of it like that, because it really is like a museum of like her life, but also just history of country music, history of like the culture, and just like how people of color really did like start it, and yeah, it really is like I love that. That's such like a fun way to put it. That it's like a museum, a history thing. I love that.
And I will say the last thing I will say about this album is it feels like I know the big question is everybody is thinking is she gonna win album of the year at the Grammys? And to me, like when I go through this and really digest this album, it is almost like a silly question. Not in the sense that I think that she should get it, obviously, or whatever. Like, yes, I think she should. But it's
like stand like we're gonna want her to win it anyway.
It's beyond the question of album of the year. To me, I feel like this is an album of the decade. To me, like I know we're only halfway through the
100%.
2020s, but like I just feel like this is beyond the question of an award that she could get on a TV show.
Yeah,
Like
there's not an award that she can get.
There's nothing that can
Because it really
actually like quantify what this album
there's no physical thing that can be given to her.
Yeah.
I think and like not to get like emotional or things, but like I think like us doing this and people she loves her fans so much, and like all I mean even like the way Park would post so many fans like reaction to things like that, like they love they don't care. She loves the fact that her fans are able to do this.
Yeah.
And we connected,
Yeah.
we met online and connected through her artistry and are able to go through and dissect this album.
Yeah.
How many times did we tie it back to past projects?
Right.
How many times were we able to be like have aha moments in this episode of like, oh my God, I didn't even think of that, or you didn't think of it and I did, and vice versa. Like I think that to her is so much more valuable than any award ever could be. And I agree. I would so much rather an album speak to me and move me and like become something that is so much bigger than just an album than be like, well, it won album of the year.
Yeah.
So like your fave didn't.
Yeah.
Beyonce could never win a Grammy again, and I could give two shits. I used to think Grammys, I used to care about them. I used to be like, oh my God, they need it. And then after a while, I was like, it's just a fun night to watch. Beyonce doesn't need an Album of the Year award to know that she's releasing albums that are changing people's lives.
Yeah.
Adele said it. I replay Adele's acceptance speech a lot in my head, and she says, "You are the artist of my life," and I'm like, it's true. She really is. Tying back to the beginning of the episode, you said there's never been a time where Beyonce hasn't been present, and I agree. There's never been a time in my life where she's always around. It's incredible. It really is.
And and I think like and she talks about it in 16 Carriages, but I think it's also shown throughout the album. She's like focusing on legacy now, so it's beyond, like you said, it's beyond the awards, it's beyond this. And we talked.
She's done it. She's done the work. Now she's doing this to just show us that like. She's not doing this because she wants to be famous or she wants to make money. I mean, it's nice. Yeah. I'm sure her bank account is sitting pretty.
Yeah.
But she does this because it's what she's meant to do. Yeah, she's an artist because it is in her blood.
Yeah.
Like, and that sounds so crazy to people who aren't into like stan cultures or like really understands like the love people can have for an artist, which I totally get. Like, it's not for everybody, but like when you really boil it down, like she is meant to be doing this, and we are so lucky that she does it.
And a part of her legacy is just making sure that other people can do it too. I mean, she talked about it in the iHeartRadio Awards speech, where she
that was beautiful. How she took that whole speech and didn't even talk about herself.
Yeah, and she just shows her intention, and I think you can see that intention in this album, where she's just like, it's not just my legacy. I want to make space. We're taking up space. That's what she talks about in American Requiem. It's like, and that's what's beautiful to see. That's more important to me than awards and how many awards she might have. It's just the impact
100%.
and the space that you want to create for the other people that don't necessarily have spaces that they can create for themselves. And that's what's beautiful to me. That's like impactful.
Yep.
That's what we'll talk about.
That's what matters.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what's going to stick with people, not an album that came and went. Like it does happen with a lot. It doesn't happen. It's not happening with Beyonce. It hasn't happened with Beyonce. People, I posted yesterday for my birthday that I was listening to the B-Day vinyl, just because like it was my birthday, whatever. Yeah. The amount of people who were like, still one of her best, like her albums are timeless. Even before she was Beyonce, like in the magnitude that she is now, like, because I feel like B-Day, I Am, Sasha Fierce, like all those, like she was obviously Beyonce, but like she really made her mark. I feel like we said, like with self-titled, where she was like, no, you guys don't get it. I'm Beyonce. Like, I'm not just some pop star. Like, even so, those albums, when you listen back to them now, like you see she's doing this artistry back then when it wasn't even like no one realized it, Yeah. It's just incredible.
I love it.
And I think
like all these artists are lucky to have her do these things for them
100%,
and that they can follow
and with them
with them for sure. And we will see the impact of what she's doing, even if she ended her career tomorrow.
It's gonna go on for centuries, really.
I love her, and I'm grateful,
it's amazing,
and this album is just perfect, and
it's perfect. And I think with that, I think we've said everything we have to say. I mean, we could probably go on for much longer, but for everyone else's sake, we won't. But thank you so much for coming on today and doing this with me. I had so much fun breaking down this album and just chatting with you. If you are interested in following Gati anywhere, you can go ahead and plug your socials if you want, because I know they are a little Beyonce reference.
So on Instagram and TikTok, I'm Gati Leah, so that's GATILEAH. On X or Twitter, whatever you feel like still calling it, I am You Love Me Like EXO, because EXO from Beyonce is my favorite album, but the first L is an I because the name was taken. So You Love Me.
It happens.
Yes.
And of course, you guys know you could find me on socials at 2popthehandle on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, the whole nine. If you're interested in following me anywhere on my personals, I am at Andrew Nucatola. And until then, I will catch you guys next week. Bye.